It's me again. Today's date is November 9th, 2022. It's a Wednesday. As many people pointed out, my last video, it was a future date. I said it was November 11th on Friday when it wasn't. We weren't there yet, and I apologize for that. It was November 4th when I filmed it, and it was released on the 5th. That happens a lot when you travel interdimensionally. Although time is relevant to us, when you pass through dimensions and kind of fold them like this, time, becomes like this not linear thing. As a result, getting back to the linear time world can be very confusing. So again, I apologize for that. This by saying this video is not financial advice. This video is entertainment only, hence it wear a costume. Are you not entertained?
There is an s-1a4 that was filed today. Let's take a look. As you can see, there are no dates on this s-1a.
This one is a bit different. Historically, if you compare s-1a2 to s-1a3, there were changes made. I'll pull up the picture here. There were changes made.
If you compare s-1a3 to s-1a4, you will notice that the only things that change are the dates. It now dates September 30th. And the financial numbers do change to be more reflective of current status.
It leads me to believe that the s-1a is approved. It could be an end of the year thing where maybe they need financials because we're approaching the end of the year. I'm not entirely sure. But there were no changes made. And why didn't we see financials before? The SEC should have requested it, right? On the other amendment renditions. Again, I take this as very positive news. Other people might try to turn this into negative news, saying it will drag out. I don't believe this to be the case. Again, there are no changes between these documents, save for the financial information added. Why wasn't it added before? Why didn't the SEC request it to be added before? And boy, am I excited. I'm very excited for all this. It's like Christmas is coming. It's like the anticipation is building up. The excitement is building up. I've waited a long time for this moment. It seems that it's finally coming to fruition. If you're new to my channel, you don't really know this, but people who have been watching my channel for the past year and a half will know this. If the oil property, if the oil asset, if it's not producing oil and it's underdeveloped, you don't have to report it on your books. It has $0 book value. This is not for Torchlight. This is ConocoPhillips does it. I've gone through other presentations and shown you the snippet where they say that. Any exploratory project pretty much has a $0 book value. ConocoPhillips sits on those assets. Exxon sits on those assets, and they don't report them on the books. They don't have to. As a result, if you look at the financial information, it might seem dismal to you because it might seem like a very low number. This is not the case. Like I said, it doesn't have to be reported. And it makes bookkeeping a lot easier. But that is a very common FUD tactic we've seen now for well over a year, where they publish a balance statement and tell you that the assets are worth next to nothing. That's why they haven't sold. This is not the case. I believe the assets to have significant value. I've calculated that value to be $32 to $60 per next bridge share. That's what I believe it to be. I've back tested this and I've run it across numerous people and different entities, and they all seem to nod their head in agreement with me. But, you're going to see anything spun into negative news. I think now it's just a matter of holding tight. We will very shortly see a finality to Mmtlp trading. Next steps would be we're going to see something with dates on it. That's the key, is the dates. And then we're going to see it either the same time or shortly thereafter, a PR come out from either NextBridge or Meta talking about the new record date for getting a NextBridge share. When do you have to be in by? When's the gate shut? That's the record date. When's the gate close? Again, how this is structured to work is that the Mmtlp shares will be completely canceled out. And you will be given equity in a company that's been around now since August of 2021. NextBridge Hydrocarbons, the company's been around for some time. You're going to be given shares in that pro rata. There's one Mmtlp equals one NextBridge shares. That's what you will be given. Again, the NextBridge shares take into account the other working interest parties of the Oro Grande. We have 66.5% of that working interest. The other 33.5% is basically McCabe's entities that have the working interest. These are combining together because it's a package deal. The goal of the Oro Grande was to sell it. It's always have been to develop this property and sell it for maximum value. Putting everybody together in one company makes it a package deal. Again, my strategy right now personally is just to sit tight. Let's talk about election news. So I'm not really one to talk about politics. I try to avoid it. But last night was the midterm elections for the country. And in Texas, we had, the governor, like everybody else. We also had the railroad commissioner. The railroad commissioner is the person who regulates the oil and gas mineral rights of Texas. All the mineral rights are up to the railroad commission on how they are regulated. Historically, lately that's been more or less Republican. And as you can see here, the current railroad commissioner, Wayne Christian, Republican Party, did win by 15% over Luke Warford, who's the Democratic representative for Railroad Commission. They all had their different platforms. Luke Warford wanted more environmental compliance, whereas Wayne Christian wanted, Texas to continue its ease of permits. Texas is known for being very easy to get permits, file for and get permits. As far as Railroad Commission goes for oil and gas in many jurisdictions, some jurisdictions are a bit pickier, but overall it's, at least filing with the Railroad Commission itself is very easy. It's no headaches. It's just if you need individual jurisdiction permits, that could be a hassle depending on where you go. Each one's different. But overall, at the Railroad Commission, it's very easy to get permits. The turnaround time is very quickly. And, it's pro-oil. It spells good news for us for the Oro Grande because as regulations are still hit on the national level for drilling on public lands and leases on public lands, it makes our private land that is for sale even more so enticing. Okay, guys, that's it for today. Again, I personally am holding strong my shares. And again, this is my own personal blog. I'm just telling you what I'm doing. You are following me along on my journey. This is One Bird's Thoughts. Okay, guys, that's it for today. And again, when we see the S1 with the dates on it, we know it's entirely official. And I hope we will see that very shortly. I will see you soon. Goodbye.